Hallelujah. 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 This is the live broadcast Reactai Weeds Israel Yael. I know that I am some minutes before time, but we are going to have conversation so that we may understand the very dynamics of Yah. We'll wait till someone is on, but this is a live broadcast. Live truth. We may understand the pure things of Yah. We have been lied to. Just everything. We have been misguided and all. Factual truth. I'm supposed to be live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 6:43 p.m. Eastern Standards. And there is no one on with me. But we're going to teach the things that we need to understand, nation. The things that we have been so ignorant of. And someone listen to this broadcast afterwards. They will find this information there as well. We're going to rejoice tonight and be exceedingly glad in the promises of our Abba. I'm trying to hide everything behind me. Let me see. That may be better. This is not the best telephone stand that I have. We're going to get one after the broadcast. Amazon.com, that's where we will go and purchase a better looking one, a better one. Let me do that now while I am waiting. Okay. Someone give me a response. Now, there are 4 of you in the room, so someone let me know. Hallelujah. Let me look for this. Telephone stand. Hallelujah. A great blessing it is to have wisdom of this profound truth. There is nothing more better than his truth. It is one thing that truth does, nation. Hear me out. It will always bring judgment. Let no one trick us. And truth will always judge the very integrity and the intent of our own hearts. We tend to judge others, but very seldom we judge ourselves. A nation of people, a people that have been deceived tremendously. And I'm talking about those that identify with Hebrewism, Torah, identify as a Hebrew Israelite. And we have been, first of all, taken for granted, and we have been deceived. Can I say this? I will. We're not a person or a people that's given to much studying. We don't study much. We don't. You may read the Torah, but when you read something, it is the ability to shemach. Simply, you must hear what you're reading. And this generation was not taught that. And the generation before this one, the one before that one, it was not taught that. And so we find today among people of my hue that the literacy rate is very, very minimal. And then you have those that are coming from other countries like the Chinese and all of those that excel much greater because they come to learn, regardless of whether they are poor, speaking dual language. And there are about 1,000 plus different languages in China. So not like America, we all speak English, but that is what it is. It's a multiple of languages in China. And we're not a people given to much studying. We don't like it because it takes time. It takes an energy that most people are not willing to give, and they will not supply that kind of desire and passion. And when they hear a man like me and those that have a greater knowledge of this book than me, they tend to reject that. And when we hear things we are not knowledgeable of, we oppose that. We have been lied to concerning the feast days. We've been lied by the Jewish rhetoric. That's all it is. It's not truth. You find any of the terms they utilize to speak of the time and the seasons of Almighty Yah. I want to ask us the same question I did last night. I will say to us again, when you kept the Passover in 2024, 2023, I want to show you what transpired. You must have the spring equinox first. You notice all the feast days are held after the spring equinox. How and where do you find the word equinox, even in Torah? It's not there. So you know that this is some form of fabrication. It's simply a flat out lie. That's not what the Torah commands us. It commands us to count 1 through 12. Not to interject, not to put another month there. You that are familiar with me, the teaching, I ask us all this one single question. And you that will hear this at some other time, you count the days that you had Pesach or Passover in 2023. It was around March, January, February, March, April, around April the 6th, 7th. There's a dispersity of time because not all will keep it at the same time. But the Passover, the Pesach, what we call the Pesach, it was in the month of April. And in those days. And from April 2024, early April, because the equinox, let me see, the equinox was when in 2023. I have all this information because I'm a student above all things. The equinox in 2024 was March 19th. March 19th. And in 2025, it'll be March 20th. That's when it will be. The solstice will be June 21st, but it will be March 20th. And every feast day that you collaborate with will be after the eternal vernal equinox. It doesn't come before, and that's not the way y'all plan things. It doesn't come before because there is a system of adding days, adding months. For example, the feast day from 2023 that you kept, the feast day, because believe me, I have it all. You put it up, it's there to be read. And basically, most of the people in 2023, the Passover was in April, from the 1st until around the 10th, 12th, 13th. And then your Passover in 2024 was in April, but later. April 23, 2024, that's when the Passover was that you celebrated. And between April 6 or April 23 and April 24, there were 384 days pass. I ask you to count your feast days. You did not celebrate them with me, and see how many days. Is 384 days considered a year? And these men, their ignorance is so profound. They don't even count stuff like that. I do. From a young man, I have always been very studious. I have been a student as I am today. I'm more of a student than I am one that teach the elements of this truth. And this book teach me. I love to hear men of great wisdom, young men that are strong, and the words are profound. I love to hear that. I'm not one that is arrogant, but I am firm in the approach of this book. I will allow no one to circumvent that, no one at all. Someone, please do that for me if you hear this, whenever you hear it. And tell me if you did not celebrate from 2023 Passover till 2024, you had to celebrate it at 384 days. That's a factual. And you can go to all those Jewish sites that are teachers and teach you the elementary things, and they will tell you there is one that every Jew use. It is called Chabad. 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 And it would tell you what there is an intercalary, that they add dates. Because the only way you can come to the spring of the year every year for Passover, there must be an inserting of days. You must add days. Tell me anywhere in the Torah where Yah says add. If we add anything to his Torah, then the plagues are going to be added to us. If we take away, then he's going to take away from us. I want someone to dispute that with me. And I don't mind disputing one, but I want that kind of opposition. If you're going to hold fast to these tremendous lies that are so corrupt, I want to read the history of the Jewish 13th month. Makes so different. You were with me last night, and all this week I'll be coming on at 7 or before 7. Whenever the sun goes down, it's quite dark here in the south, and I am in central South Carolina. I want to read this for you, nation. You can go online, and you can look up the Metanic cycle, Jewish. Just search that. Mentonic, Jewish calendar, and see what comes up. And there are thousands of pages, tens of thousands, millions, that tell you this is how they determine the Moed, the feast day of Almighty Yah, and you do it the very same way, my friends. Nothing no different whether you're Hebrew Israelites. Those in their camps, they do it exactly the same. Exactly the same. And there is nowhere in Torah it directs you to do that. It says this: the year in the Jewish calendar are counted, the years now. There is a Metanic or a 19-year cycle, of which 12 years, what they call common years, are 12 months apiece. They are 12 months apiece. It is a 19-year cycle, and they call 7 of those months of the year, they are called leap years, containing a 13th month. Anyone, the small gathering we have here tonight, someone please show me where there is any kind of interpretation in Torah or instructions that we add a month. I can find 12 months in Torah, as I showed us last night. Now, this is how they devise that. It tells us that 12 years are common years of 12 months. So that's what a common year is. It's a cycle of 12 months. Listen. And then there are 7 years or leap years containing 13 months. Is that found in Torah? Is that found? Your leaders or those that lead you through this beguiling effort, they will not explain things to you. I have been preaching for a long time, over 45 plus years. I've been teaching more than that and preaching. And I have been an ignorance man from day one. It's one thing about an ignorant person. When they come to the knowledge that that individual is ignorant, you can teach that one. We stand in our pride, in our arrogance, and we will debate things that we have no knowledge of. Very few people spend time in Torah. That's why they recycle the same things over and over and over. This is a book that is of mastery knowledge. And you must have a man that's dedicated, that can teach the people the truth, and he's not fearful of what results may come, as long as he operates in the sadiq, or the righteousness of Yah. Again, let me go back to this. You can find this in Chabad, that website. Please go there, www.chabad.org. It tells you every single thing and how the Jewish nationality construed these days and these times, because the true cycle of Yah every year is going to go back 11 days. And over 33 years, you come back to that spring. You will. And that over 400 years, that's the battle that Yisrael el-Khatz, they did. It shows you the times that were excellent, the hard times, the times of discipline. You will go through that. I'll read this again. The history of the Jewish 13th month calendar. And the Jews will not dispute that. I have no opposition by calling them Jews, because they are. And those that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, that they are the true Jews, well, I don't buy that. I really don't. You are a son of Yisrael. What is a Jew? What is the implementation of that word Jew? Yehuda? Oh, stop that. Yehudite? I can't see them using that. But these people are very boastful to boast that, we are the Jews. I am not called a Jew. I'm a son. I'm of Yehuda. I'm a Yahudim. I'm of that election of people. Well, we just translate it. You don't translate names and countries. There are terms that cannot be translated. They are transliteral. You cannot call the United States of America any other name that you translate. You may have in your language something that will conspire or not conspire, that will define United and States of America. You may say it in your language. But words, names of people, they are transliteral. You cannot translate them. You cannot give the meaning according to your language. You cannot. They're literally. My name is David, so it's literally. My mother named me David, and so my heritage name is David. In this cycle, let me read this again. The years in the Jewish calendar are counted in cycles of 19 years, of which 12 years are common years of months, and they are 12 months apiece. These are what they call the common years. A common year consists of 12 months. And then there are 7 years or of leap years containing 13 months. Altogether, the 19-year cycle has 235 months. This was done by a philosopher, one that was an engineer of science. His name was called Meton. He was a Greek. And that's how this system was built. It's not in Torah. It's not nation. And we have beguiled ourselves to believe a lie. And we are so ignorant, we buy it. It makes no difference who tells us that. And we justify it. Well, how do you have 12 months, and these, what they call these leap years, they are now fixed. And they would tell you the third year, the third Mo'at, you keep the Mo'adim. That is one whereby there are 365 days in that year, 364 days in that year, or 363 days. This is factual. It can be proven if you want to see the reality of it. That's what it is. So which one is right? The third year, the sixth feast year, the eighth feast year, the 11th, the 14th, and the 17th, also the 19th year of each cycle. Of the years of it in the Jewish calendar, that's what it says. I'm not adding this. Are counted in cycles of 19 years, of which 12 years, again, they are common years. 12 months apiece in a 7-year cycle. And that's what you came to in 2023. That's why I know how many days were from your 2023 feast days to your 2024. I showed when I said, would send me your feast days from 2023 to 2024. And this man did not even have the strength to debate that. I said it was 384 days. Well, my daddy taught me so. Your daddy taught you a lie. Our parents taught us lies. They taught us Christmas, Easter. They taught us lies, and we don't want to deal with that. They taught us pure lies, and they deceived us. That's why it's difficult for people to let those pagan lies go. We still participate in well, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving over the butchering of millions of people that we call the Indians. They were here before you. You that identify as a Hebrew Israelite, who were they? Skin complexion that varied according to the rainbow, to the darkest, to the creamiest of color. Same thing with the people of my hue. Same thing. The darkest to the lightest element. You don't know if one is a true Hebrew Israelite. Can I say this? I've been around for years. I've been around for a long time. I was one of the first persons in America that had internet. IBM. I walked out one day and I quit. Period. Broke as they come. My wife was in her internship to become a registered nurse. Wonderful grades, very bright daughter she is, smart woman. And so the hospital said, listen, we will pay for your education. Just sign the contract. You will work for us. I said, you will not be endowed under some kind of prison ship. I will pay for your education. So I had the internet in its inception in America. There were not that many people had it. And I was researching things even back then. I'm not a newbie on the block, nation. I'm looking at these dates. And there is a place I'll always tell the people, www.timeanddate.com. You go in, they have the system set up where you can just put in the date from 2023 until 2024. You don't have to try to count them. They'll tell you exactly how many days pass. Let me show you this. So from 2024 feast days, to 2025, there will be 355 days past. How do you do that? You keep 2 years of the lunar calendar, 353, 354, or 355. And that's factual. Where does the Torah tell you to add a 13th month? Show me one place I will repent and I will preach on it with fervor and fire. It doesn't say that because it is a lie. Yah's people are scattered in every nation. There were those that were Hebrews, went to Russia back in the days, and they immersed themselves in their society. They went there not just to be, they went there to help in the farming industry and teach those Russians how to farm and all that. And they integrated themselves into that society in Russia. They were scattered to every nation. They were scattered to every country. And the word country means eretz. And the word nation means eretz. And when he sent us to a certain place, it is olam, to that country. He scattered us into every nation under the stars of the heaven. That's why I've always disapproved of this lie by those that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, thinking they have the power to identify everyone. And back in those days, they taught that. And they were, and all of those men, and they began to change the story now. It's a fact. They call those on the continent of Africa dirty, stinking Africans. Now they're all over there. Were they wrong or were they right? You can't be an African and be a Hebrew Israelite. There are many nations over there, from Kenya to Tanzania. They're all over with their vile concept of a doctrine. I was there. I was one of the first ones that had internet. When I had internet, there were only 2 million people in America that had it. Landslide. So I'm not one that is a newbie. I was a schoolboy, and I learned from that. I could go and research through. Back then, you could go into the Harvard library. I would go into all the libraries and search for things. Now they charge you. That's the way it was back then. So these men have lied to you, and your leaders have lied to you, and they don't want to explain things to you. Ask any of your leaders. I will discuss it with any of them. I will discuss that with any of them. I don't care what your father taught you, your mother. It was a flat out lie. They did not teach you the truth according to the Torah of Yah. Last year, 2023 to 2024, count it. You exercised 384 days for that year. That's how many days it was. And your feast day from 2024, when you celebrate in 2025, it will be 355 days. If you don't believe me, I tell you, you go. It's a very tremendous application on times and dates. I used to count it. I would count every month. I got calendars from years and years back. And I would literally count each day by hand. And then one day I said, let me search this web. And I found everything I need. You can find everything on that website, times and dates. It tells you everything. And Chabad it's an Orthodox Jewish website. And I mean, they go into details about everything. I can appreciate them for the honesty that they tell you on the sites, that you can cipher whether it's the truth or that which is false. How did the equator come into place? How did the vernal and the atomic equinox, how did that come into place? Those words were not even in our vocabulary until the 1500s. King James came out 1611, but you don't find that word in the Torah at all. And that's just a fact, nation. We cannot allow these corruptions of things to take advantage of us. We cannot, nation. And these men have taken advantage, and plus they have raped your daughters. More than Hebrew Israelites believe in having 4, 5, 6 wives. They have them out, they pimp them like a pimp on the street. Lustful, wicked men. It won't be long I will have been married 50 years. I know only my wife. I know this off the subject, but that's all I know. Her beauty is beyond a multiple of women. She has a beauty that is beyond the expression of love and caring and kindness. At my age, I still have that great compassion for her and a sensation of the activities of that. I don't take drugs. I don't take aspirins. I take no kinds of pills. No kind of pills. For nothing. I let my body heal itself. I do none of that. Can I proceed? I got until 2027, 2028. I tell you 2026 to 2027, the Passover is 401, 4226. That's when it is. It will be that. And then in that year will be 385 day year. But the year before that, from 4/13/25, the 4/02/26, it will be 354 years. That's how it goes, nation. You must have in that third year, you're going to have a 383, a 384, 385 year. So that everything will be in line with the vernal equinox. And you will have your feast day after April of every year. Unless the vernal equinox, I got all the dates that it appears and all of that. Let me just, in 2025, it will appear March 20, 26, March 20th, and March 20. You're going to have your feast days after March. That's a fact. It's going to happen that way. Because the vernal equinox must, and it is the sign, and that's factual. And we have been lied to. We have been beguiled because these men are not leading us in truth, nation. They're telling you lies. That is what the Torah is. The word Torah means that it grants us the direction to walk in. It gives us instructions how to walk in that direction. And it tells us this is what the word Torah means. It is the wisdom of Yah's instruction. That's what it is. And these men have not been taught. It's amazing how men have not been taught, but they call themselves leaders. They have not expended the years in that. Overnight, they are out doing their own thing of a lie. There is nothing in society that you can just walk in and do the job. You must be trained. You cannot become a physician, a doctor, because you've heard or you know how certain things about medicine. There's a process. You do not become a lawyer. Everything is the internship. This is the only thing. You do not become an imam in the Muslim religion. Strategic training and all of that. And the only thing most of them can do is ridicule the women, calling them every kind of violent, evil, doggish name that is. They're nothing but boys. Take advantage of those no more than what a pimp does. Play them. Take advantage. I got 3 or 4 wives, and they all got at least in areas of the world where Muslims are. They do not allow the second wife to live in the house. You have to have the money to put all of them together. There's a pig down there in Tennessee. I don't know how many he got. The last I heard, he had about 5. Raping, selling the women, and all of that. I will not go to a dog's website. Taking advantage of the young and the simple and the foolish young women instead of teaching them. Man, my age, old as I am, I'll be 70 years old my birthday. And I don't even talk about birthdays or nothing, but I will be 70 years old. What do I look like having 4 or 5 wives? That's so stupid. It's nothing but a loss. Everything I desire is in Imarafea. Beautiful. Satisfies me. Understand the nature of our activity. It is so beautiful. It is beyond expression. They spend an equivalent 4 or 5 minutes with what they call a wife. She gets nothing. That's a fact. I'm an old man, and I know I've been around for quite a few years. Can I move a little further? I want to read this. The first records of the term vernal equinox came around 1530. The word vernal meaning the relation to the spring. That's what it means. How is that, or how is the Torah interpreted by the language of our forefathers to mean this? How is it that we have been so beguiled? We were beguiled by the Baptists, the Methodists. They gave us this speck of woods, freak of a faggot, Jesus. And if you look at the ones of the people of my hue, that what they put up, dreadlocks, and look just as faggot as that one, they call Jesus the loud cries. They have lied to us, nation, because we are ignorant and we are a foolish people. And so they have constructed lies to beguile us and make sure that that concept is passed down through generations. And then there is one of the generation who Yahweh delivers from all of them, period. And they are able, by the teaching of men that are wise, and they are studious men, to teach us the truth. People don't want to hear me. I'm not loved like those who say, I love my preacher, and he's laying your daughter. Mr. T.D. Snake Jakes, that will not address any kind of sin, of corruption. They will not identify, they teach what they call philosophy. I preach from the book. You can't preach from this book with 1 or 2 scriptures. You must teach the subject, and the volume of that is unmeasurable. It is beyond measurability. And when men cannot do that, they are weak. They do not have the strength and the knowledge of this book. They call themselves studying with the television on and the radio on. Get over here. It isn't so. This term did not come into the vernacular of this nation until 1530. It simply means relating to spring. That's what it means. The word equinox comes from the Latin word echinoctium, meaning the time of equal day and night. That's where it comes from, nation. We have no men to teach us. And I say that with a strong disposition. I've been around long enough to know what has been taught over the many years. I've seen it. I know. I'm not a schoolboy. I'm not a first grader. I'm working on my PhD. When I finish this course, I'll receive that. Can I give us this? I want to give us this. Now understand the calendar that people, they discuss in the book of Hanoch, and how that there are intercalaries. There is no intercalary in Yah's calendar. None. He gives us the moon, the Chodash, the slither of that moon. That's what he gives us. And the sighting. And we must watch for that moon. And it has been over the many, many years. I've been here almost 30 years. So I've spent half of my life here. Basically, I live very simple too. Let me read this. I want to read this. I'm not going to be all night. It says this: why then are the Jewish feast days are not within the scope of Hanach, or the book of Hanach, 364. And you will find people that keep that. Theirs is no different when they keep the Mo'ad, when they keep their feast days. It's just like the feast days of Christmas and all of that. They know when it's going to be and all that. I don't dispute with the book of Hanuk, but these persons that try to express that, they don't even know. And that's a fact. I want to show us a key takeaway of this Hebrew calendar. And I'm looking at how many articles are written on this. There are nearly 465 million articles. How do you consume all of that? You can't. On this subject. It states this: the Jewish calendar is built on the Babylonian calendar, and it is, which the Jews learn to appreciate during the Babylonian captivity. The calendar is a lunar solar tool base of the metonic accommodation of the cycles of both the moon and sun. He gave us one thing. He gave us the moon for determination of the days and the times. On the moon and sun, it is used as a 19-year cycle includes 7 leap months, rather than the Gregorian 400-year cycle with many more leap days. And they add, leap days have nothing to do with the Torah interpretation of time and the guidance of the full Moedim, the feast days of Yah. The moon comes and the moon goes. Nothing at all, has nothing to do with that. They talk about leap days and leap years. It tells us that the original number of the Hebrew years in the numbers of the Metonic years since the traditional Jewish date of the creation of the world, 3,761 BCE, before the Common Era. That's what they says. Now, the history of the 13th months, can I read that for us, nation? We have been twisted and misguided. It tells us here, and I got tons of information on all of this. I always recognize the website and all of that, where I retrieve this from. And I've got hundreds and thousands of pages on this. So I credit those individuals that write this. This is the history of the 13th month calendar. This is from East Carolina University. The 13th month, quote, the 13th month calendar derived from Augustus Comte in 1849. In 1849. It was based on a 364-day year, which includes the 1 or 2 years blank days, which is called that of the Abi Masteruf Finai, an Italian Roman Catholic priest, had devised 15 years before. Each of the 13th month, 28 days, or exactly 4 weeks. Now, this is not my historical evaluation, but you can find all of this. You can find it on the internet. I don't utilize the internet to play games. That's not my thing. I know that the volume of information. And as I say and remind us, I was one of the 2 million people that had the internet when they first came out. It was on landline. It's nothing like it is today. Because I would utilize it instead of going to my public library in Charlotte. I could go into the Harvard Library. I can go into Princeton. I went into so many. It was something that created this euphoric in me. It did. Because I could visit those schools. Now it costs to go there. You got to pay an extra fee. It's nothing but a money thing. But back in those days, you could go free. It wasn't as much information as it is now, but it was quality information. You didn't have everyone writing an article or someone inputting their opinion instead of going by the actual facts that was written in our history. Can I read a little more? This is from, what website is this from? Let me read this. Catching Up with the Solar Year. This is from Time and Dates. That's why it's a wonderful website. Time and Dates, Chabad. I utilize them, and I utilize hundreds of websites. I search, I find the information. You can go online and type in 13 months. How did it come about? And they would tell you the truth. And then we are people that are so misguided that we won't believe the truth. We will believe lies. Can I read this? Catching Up with the Solar Year, Time and Date. Months in the Jewish calendar are based on the phase of the moon. The new moon begins, see, even they realize this. The new moon begins on the day the crescent moon after the new moon phase. That's when it begins. Because the Torah tells us that. That is what the word Kodash is. Kodash. It tells us the sighting of the moon. Because the sum of 12 lunar months is about 11 days shorter than a solar year. Like I said, the feast day will go back 11 days every year. It will take 33 years to get there. And there's one familiar in the scripture that's, how long did he live? It will take 33 years to come back to the spring. That you will experience all of the kinds of weather pattern and all, like they did in Mizraim. The hardship, the coldness, and all of that, to celebrate that wonderful day. Because the sum of 12 lunar months is 11 days shorter than the solar year. Factual. And it goes back 11 days every year for the purpose, for the experience. That's a fact. I can trust in the Muslims with their feast days, their Ramadan. It always go backwards. It doesn't go forward. And they celebrate in every part of the world. I can. And I want to do a deep search this year during the winter time to really try to see if I can, because you have so much trash on the internet now. Everybody's a scholar. They have no learnings, but they're scholars. They know everything. They spend, when they get off from work, get home at around 5, they will spend many people, and that's factual, on the internet just looking and searching for nothing. And then when they sit down in their home, they will spend 3 or 4 hours watching television. So what time do you have to spend with y'all? Be honest. Just be honest. Their eyes are on the television, watching foolishness and all of that. I don't do that. I have no television. There is none in this community. So what time do we really have for y'all? Let's be honest, nation. Let us get real with ourselves. We don't want to do that because we know that you are above the Torah of Yah. But this is information vital to our growth. And you don't even know it. You have not sought to understand how is it that there's a new month every 3rd year. And it gives us the year. We got to have a 13th month. You can say what you want to. Show me any one of you all that may be listening, the few of us tonight, or hear this teaching sometime in the future. Show me a 13th month in Torah. Show me. Every third year. You know something is wrong. You know that it is wrong, nation. You don't want to deal with the reality that you know that there is something that is wrong. It's not right. And we all were caught up into those lies. I know I was. But when I began to search the Torah many years ago, I've been here 30 years, almost 30 years in this community. Right here. And I knew that when I began to teach this, I didn't just start one day, just began to teach this because I kept them the same way you did. And it was troubling to me. And I began to search the Torah. And then I began to search because the volume of information on the internet 30 years ago was greater than it was 50 years ago when I was on the internet. It has transitioned from that time, nation. And I began to search and all of that. And this was the first thing that YAH opened up to me, the mechanic cycle. Because I was searched. I did it all, nation. And I kept them like every one of us. And one day, what I told the people, even here, many of them, not many, we had 141 people total living here. There's just a handful of us now, but I will not alter things. I will not change things to satisfy people. I will not. I will not regress. I will progress. I will go forward. And that's the fact of the matter, because people don't want truth. I said to us, you that may be new, listening, and we are a very small congregation. We began this work over 30 years ago. I was able to purchase this land, whereby the land I set it up that it belongs to the people. I have no biological children. If I did, they're not going to. If I had wicked sons and daughters, they're going to be fighting, saying, this is my land. They can't do that. It belongs to the people. It belongs to Israel. And I said to my imams, it's going to go back to its original state if you don't have men that are strong enough to sustain this work. Not a work of Riyadh, but the work of his truth, nation. And so I had it all set up that way, and I didn't get this from I didn't get this from Hebrew Israelites. I got this from an old Baptist preacher in the Delta of Mississippi. Neil Savage worked with me at IBM. He was a very brilliant young man. He would always call me brother, brother, brother. His father was one of those preachers of that my type, holiness preachers. And he gave me this article. And I read this article and I was enthralled with what this man did. All the people on welfare and those of the type that were with me. Welfare, I sent them to school to get educated and to get off welfare. You don't need to be on welfare. Food stamps. They don't do nothing but kill you. The foods of this world that they do, it does nothing but kill you. Look at us. We're messed up. Hospitals and every kind of drug. They experiment with you. I don't take drugs. I don't take aspirins. I have not put nothing like that in my body. I allow my body to heal itself. Now, I will utilize herbs and all of that, the natural herbs of YAH. My wife is very brilliant when it comes to. She is. And so our bodies are amazing. They can heal themselves. Look what's among the people of our here. High blood pressure, low blood pressure. They got everything. Everything. We have learned to eat in a corrupt way. Our mouths are greedy, chicken with fat back and all of that. We've learned to participate in the lives of this nation. I wanted to learn, nation. And that's why any man that could teach me, I would listen. Now, there will be things that they would say, I say, that doesn't sound right. And I would search it out. I've always been a note taker. And I would go back to what they had preached, and I would study the words, and I would examine each word. I'm a word preacher, singular word preacher. And when I began to progress to understand the more them and all that, I didn't know how to keep them. So I would go online and look at those and only that. And I went by the same pattern until I said many, many years ago to my wife, something is wrong here. I don't like this. The mechanic, I search all that out. You can do the same thing. What to do it? Because we're lazy. And the men are afraid to be proven a liar. And that's what I was proven to be, a liar of ignorance. And when I began to search, I knew that something was vastly wrong. And I began to search out the history of all of these pagan things. And that's what I did. And so as I began to ask, how do I tell the people this? When I introduced the name to the people here, at least 25 years ago, we had a large crowd here. Let me hold up for 1 minute. I want to show you something. Give me 1 minute. And I have not been discouraged because of this. You can see. Let me show you. This is how many people lived here one time. Can you see that? Look at that. You see that? You see all those people? There are people, preachers that were given their nephesh to maintain that. Look at that. You all see that? You see that? That's how many people were here in service. Most preachers would give an arm for that many people. Some died. And many of them turned their backs and walked no more with me. Because I would not put up with the folly of what these men, this Jesus lie and all of that. I would not. And they turned and walked no more with me. So that's how many people lived here. That's how many people lived here. And we have a beautiful piece of land here. We do. We have a tremendous community. It's a beautiful place. And we built it, an inexperienced man like me never had built a house. My little shack here, what you see here, I did this. I built this and added little pieces to this house, $1,500. You can live in $1 million house. When you die, it means nothing. It means nothing. It's going to go back to the state whereby it was created. Fact of the matter, nation, I'm not living for houses or land. I'm not living for that. And that these men, they own, these are their corporations. This belongs to the people. I'm not going to, let me talk to 8. That was some time ago. I went to see the lawyer that did all the work, paperwork, deeds for the land. And I want to get back on my subject, but I want to tell you. And I went to see him because I wanted to make sure that when I pass, that no one could come in here and take this land from the people. When he showed me how much property we own 8 or 9 pieces of property. We own property in different places. Because I would take the money, those that were kind in those days, there have been over 1,100,000 people that have visited our site. This is a few. Look at me online. 17 people. That's how many. But in the days, there were those that were very kind. They were kind, coming into the knowledge of the truth and all of that. Shabbat, the name. And there were those that were sent a tremendous amount of money. They did. And I used it here. I did not buy a Mercedes-Benz. That was this Iranian woman. She would tell me, Pastor Roberts, oh, I give you a Mercedes-Benz. She was very kind to me. Oh, my husband, he's a doctor, and she was building about 45 signature home in one of the most richest section in Charlotte. She gave me a Mercedes. She just liked me. She liked me because she just liked me. And I said, no, I was not, as a preacher, would be caught driving a Mercedes-Benz, because that's what they do. I was not. I told her I appreciate that so kindly. She gave me a house that we tore the house down, and we used the wood and all of that to build around here, nation. This is something that is so unique. You've never seen anything like this. I'm telling you. Beautiful place, too. And I did not want that Mercedes-Benz. I didn't take it because I was not like those other men. I could have drove a Mercedes-Benz just working. I had a wonderful career ahead. Dr. Graham, PhD in physics, he had picked me. I want you to guide this group to see what can be implemented to improve the attitude and all of this corporation, IBM. That was in the heyday, believe me. And it was so successful that he walks up to me, put his hand on my chest. Forgive me. Let me get my mic. Forgive me, just 1 second. 1 second. He put his hand in my chest, just like I showed you. And he let me know that if this proved to go beyond accepted by corporates, he said, I'm taking you with me. He did that to me. Who would not have been excited about something like that? This man was a PhD in physics from Boston. He was a brilliant white boy. For some reason he liked me. I didn't play around. I didn't laugh and grin. Do the jokes. I've never been that. My wife in an internship as a nurse. We could have our sitter many times. We could have been retired with over $1 million in our account and just roam. I don't want to roam nowhere. I love my simple life. I could have. I've not robbed the people or taken from them. Let me finish this. I want to show you this right here. This is on time and dates as well, all right? It says the days, Jewish calendar years. It is called the length in a deficient year. This is a deficient year. 353 and 383 days. That's what they call a deficient year. And the length in a regular year is 354 and 384. And the length of a complete year, look at this, 355 days and 385 days. That is what, and this is the pattern that you follow when you talk about feast days. This is the time and the pattern you follow, and it's factual. It is pagan. It's built upon lies and corruption. You don't have to believe me. Challenge me. Challenge me. Tell your leaders to challenge me. Call that preacher at my YAHWehSword.com. You can find me. Show him how wrong he is. I welcome that. I do. I welcome that by any preacher that wants to challenge me and debate me on this subject, because you cannot win, period. You cannot win because you base that on lies. You base everything you do on beguiling the people and trickery. And you know that they are not students. You know that they're not going to debate you, but I will. I will debate you. Tell me how you get 383 days, 384, and 385 days in a year. And we'll sit down and count them and see if I am a liar or you are the one that's deceiving the people. Tell me, please. That's all I'll ask you. And you use the same pattern of those all over the world. There are those that do not use that pattern. They do it just like I do. A few like us. They use the same pattern that we do here. They will not buy the lies. You buy them. You buy them. I got hundreds of pages just on this subject. I know when it all started. I got so much material, it is pathetic. I was looking, let me say this, and I'm going to close in a few minutes. I said to my Ibrafia, I was looking at teachings yesterday, I believe, that I taught in 2006. I said, wow, that many years have passed. I used to have somewhat of a nice speckled beard, but it's, believe me, it's white. You may see a little black in it, but it's flat out white. My issue on them, your beard is just flat out white. You're old. And that I am. I have no compunction with that. Period. I will not buy the lies. We need to understand what we call the metanech, the metanic cycle, and all of that. We need you, nation. We don't need men to beguile and trick us. For one thing, your money. Many of these Hebrew Israelites, what they call themselves leaders, they're raping your daughters. They're raping you, mama. They're espousing that lie. You can have 5, 6, 7 wives. There's only one wife Yahshua HaMashiach has, and that is the assembly, and that is the pattern of his nation. One wife. And when a man finds a wife, his life is luscious. It is blessed. He finds one of the best things in life. When a man finds a wife, he finds an exception. He finds a tub. He finds a good thing. She's greater than treasures. And because our men are so ignorant, they don't even know how to entreat a wife. They don't even know how to love them. And we get upset when I say that. Men, they're cowardly and juvenile-ish. They don't even know how to entertain them in a proper way, whereby she's satisfied beyond the means of satisfaction. That they create this bond of love like nothing else. I've been around for a while. I know only one woman, and that's my Ima Rafea. Period. I don't say this boastful. I could have them by the tons. I only know that woman. Almost 50 years of marriage, I only know that wife. Just like Yahshua only know one wife. Yahshua knows only one wife. He has only one wife. He's the husbandman of one wife. Not 10 or 20. Yah even subject us for divorce because of our wicked ways. He suffered it. He suffered that. But he meant one woman and one man. That's what he meant. I don't care about your religious persuasion. He meant for us to operate nation within the lunar calendar framework. Why do you then? You got 2 years of lunar feast days, and then the third year you got a 383, 384, 385 feast day. How is that? How is that? Tell me. Where's that in the Torah? Show me. I beg any of you all. I beg any of you all that stumble upon, show me. You know it's a deceitful lie. It is a corrupt lie, and you know that. And you lie to the people because you don't care about them. You want their money and their young daughters. There are a lot of dirty men out there, men. These are little boys. You find a man, you find one that is strong. I'm going to stop here tonight. Bless you all. Yabaruch. Be encouraged. I am. The weather's changing here in the southeast, and it could be a pattern that is coming. It's going to be cold. I have never seen it this cold this time of the year here like we've seen it. We usually get cold in January, in December, the last of December. But we have had it below freezing. We have had it in the teens here. But Yah has blessed us in this wonderful, beautiful place, Tshuwah, Hebraic community. That's the name of it. It is the community of victory over our flesh. So I'm not here to beguile us, nation, and to lie to us. I'm here to give you truth. That's what I am. If I was lying to the people, I could have many coming here, and we laying up and playing the party thing, getting drunk and all that. You can't do that here. Our body is the beat of Yah. He lives within the construct of our minds. His Torah lives. It invigorates us. It revives us. And it produces the substance of life in us. We don't want men that will express truth to us. And these Hebrew Israelite preachers, they don't talk about the adulterous sin and corruption because they're all of that. Dirty men. Dirty men. Will live with the mama and the daughter. That's how corrupt they are. And that is the truth. I want to say tonight, 7:52 here, I'm going to sign off. I am going to sign off. May the riches of Yah. I'll be back tomorrow night. Tell others, join me, and I'll come on precisely at 7. We will not have service tomorrow night, the Kiksve Imat, but I'll be here talking as we prepare for our Pesach on this weekend. So be encouraged. Listen, just listen. Don't try to interpret what I say. Just listen. That's our problem. We always want to interpret something when we don't even have the skill. I haven't been around for a few years or a few days, 10, 15 years. I've been around for a long, long time. And I've come up to the regiments of both the lies that are purported today by those that identify with the Hebrewism, that rape your daughters and take advantage of them. Men around you are not married, but you got all the women. You're meant for a man to have a wife. And a true wife will satisfy him to the fullest. And he will satisfy her because when a man finds, he doesn't act on the permission of his lusts. That body change in their activities that are pronounced in your body, he finds an exceptional thing. And that man he will be granted the favor, the love of Almighty Yah. Yabarok Nation, be encouraged. We'll see you tomorrow night. Yabarok, shalom, shalom. Yabarok.